Helen here, and I'm going to be doing a book review on Nevermore by Kelly Creagh, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to start off by saying that this book is really hard to describe without reading the summary, so I'm going to read the summary of the book for you guys really quick before I get into my actual review. So here we go. Cheerleader Isabel Langley is horrified when she is paired with Baron Nethers for an English project, which is due, so unfair, on the day of the rival game. Cold and aloof, sardonic and sharp-tongued, Baron makes it clear he'd rather not have anything to do with her either. But when Isabel discovers strange writing in his journal, she can't help but give this enigmatic boy with the piercing eyes another look. Soon, Isabel finds herself making excuses to be with Baron. Steadily pulled away from her friends and her possessive boyfriend, Isabel ventures deeper and deeper into the dream world Baron has created through the pages of his notebook, a realm where the terrifying stories of Edgar Allan Poe come to life. As her world begins to unravel around her, Isabel discovers that dreams, like words, hold more power than she ever imagined, and that the most frightening realities are those of the mind. Now she must find a way to reach Baron before he is consumed by the shadows of his own nightmares. His life depends on it. So this book is written kind of around Edgar Allan Poe's stories, and Creagh really brings his stories and his poems to life by using them to kind of manipulate Baron's dreams, and she creates demons and ghosts that haunt him by night and stuff like that. And it's just a really creative world that she's created, and I think by bringing in a cheerleader such as Isabel, who's very exciting and just, you know, she's really enthusiastic and more really upbeat into this story would, you know, by bringing her into this story, she's definitely the opposite of Baron. And I think that by having a goth guy, and we know that he's goth because Isabel labels him like right away in the story, I think that it's just a really creative idea. And what I like more about this type of paranormal romance is that Isabel actually has a bit of a life to her, rather than, you know, a lot of the other female protagonists and whatnot in a normal paranormal romance. A lot of things in this book are really confusing and hard to understand, I suppose, because of the way that Creagh writes it. But I would give her writing a definite 5 out of 5. Mostly for her creativity and because of the plot, and it's just so original. Like, I don't know who could come up with this. And it must have taken so much research on, like, Poe's, you know, lost loves and his poems and stuff like that. And she definitely did a very good job on it. Her characters alone are completely wonderful, and they're just, like, they're real, almost. Like, they're very easy to relate to if you're more like one of them. I think it'd be easier for me to relate to Baron because of the fact that I'm not as popular in my school. I couldn't relate to Isabel very much because she's very sporty, and that's like the opposite of me. I'm more into literature and writing, and I'm more academic than athletic. But that's like beside the point. What I'm talking about in the book is that the book is so creative that you can't help but like just fall in love with it, like from the beginning to the end, because it's just so, it's such a rush like the whole way through. And it might be a little bit you know, like intimidating to people who are, you know, used to smaller books. But when you think about it, it's really not that much, because it's 50 chapters long and about 550 some pages, but the way that she's written it just makes it feel like it's a lot shorter than that. And so it's really great. I don't have the book with me, so I can't exactly show you how thick it is. It's probably about that thick. It's great though, you gotta read it. So Isabel Langley is a cheerleader, and she's very enthusiastic about what she does, and it seems like cheerleading is kind of maybe what she would want to do with her future, become like a professional cheerleader for like a sports team or something like that. And she's just very into it. She is definitely kind of, her life almost revolves around it, but at the same time she does have her own life and time for other things. She's a bit dramatic at the beginning of the story, I mean, what teenage girl isn't sometimes? But as we see her grow, we actually, like, we can visualize her growth as a person and her mind throughout the story, and she does become a bit more, she's always independent in the story, she's a very independent young lady, but she grows throughout the story. She has a group of friends. If you read the book, you'll know why I have put that in quotation marks, because they're not the nicest people to her. Um, and as they turn on her, because she is changing when she is paired with Varen, um, her boyfriend is very possessive of her, and he does not like the idea of her mixing with the Varen because he is the king of goth. um, so she does, some stuff happens with her and her friends, but she makes a new friend and all that, and it's just a great story. There's lots of, I'd say that there are a few life lessons that I learned in the book. It's not important really what people think of you. And Isabel, by becoming closer with Varen, learns that there's more important things in life than just cheer and competition. Varen Nethers is a very, very dark boy, and he is sardonic, and he's rude, but he's so funny. He's so sarcastic, and the way that he talks to Isabel is just great because he really sets her in her place in the beginning where they decide what author to do their book on. He doesn't let her choose. He just says right away, we're doing Poe. And she's like, oh, okay. So she just goes with it because she thinks that if she just kind of does the low bare minimum, can't say that word, of work, Varen will just do it all. And he really kind of makes it clear to her that she's going to do some work in this too. And she doesn't like that, but she has to listen to him. Throughout the story, we learn a bit about Varen's home life, and he has home problems. So I feel that it's very easy for people to relate to. I don't exactly have home problems. I think that my family is more like Isabel's in a way. I don't have an annoying little brother like she does, though. But I do have very protective parents and things like that. And Varen, um, you know, he's different and he's truly himself, and he really doesn't care what other people think of him. And people are mean to him, but he doesn't let it bother him because he knows that there are more things, bigger things that matter. And it's a definite thing that his dream world is probably one of the most things that impacts him in his life. So compared to all the mean things that happen to him at school, it's really nothing. He's got bigger worries. And to me, that taught me that a lot of things in life don't depend and don't impact you, because what impacts you is who you are and what you do more than anything. And in Kelly's book, I learned that really easily. So one thing about Varen is he's my favorite character in this book for the simple fact that he is so different from a lot of characters in a paranormal romance. And I think that this is like one of my favorite paranormal romance, and it definitely hit my favorite books, my top 10 favorite books. For the simple fact that it's so different and so unique, and it opens me up to Poe's literature. However, I was a big fan of him. Like, not a big fan, but I was a fan of his work. Like, in class, before I read this book, we read The Telltale Heart, and I think that because of the fact that I read that book, I decided to give Nevermore a try when I found it at the library. And right from the beginning, like the prologue, I was into it right to the end of the epilogue. So it was just a fantastic book, and I would give it a rating of 5 for creativity, a rating for, I think 5 for writing. However, there were some parts in the book that I thought were kind of redundant, and they weren't needed in that, but the book itself flowed nicely, and her writing is just definitely unique, and it's just very well written. And the plot would definitely be a 5 out of 5, just for the fact that it's so unique, and it would probably be really hard to make up, I suppose. I mean, you'd have to be, like, totally into Poe, I guess, to, like, make this all up. You kind of have to be a bit insane like he was. So I loved it. And I think that if you guys find this at the library, or if you are in need of some romance-type book that you really want to read, It's great. The only mature content in it would be a few swears, maybe. Um, but other than that, there's no smut or any gross stuff like that. It's really great. And so if you're into reading and you need a new book to read, definitely give this one a try. Search your library or Amazon or something for it. It's a great book. So thanks for watching. This was my first review, so I was probably a bit nervous. Thanks. Bye.